Welcome back to California Cooking and Happy New Year. We have a great show lined up today. First, it's that time of year when you feel like comfort food, but you also want to be healthy. So I'm making a Philly cheesesteak on a portobello mushroom. Then I'm learning how to make the most delicious winter recipe with chicken, blood oranges, and olives. And finally, Steve Kuzj has taken us to a family restaurant serving up the most amazing sweet and savory waffles. First up, I love a good Philly cheesesteak, although I don't have them very often, so I decided to lighten things up a little bit. I'd make a Philly cheesesteak, but on top of a portobello mushroom. I'm with you sometimes where I feel like I need to go a little bit lower in the carbs because I love pasta and bread and rice and all that. So this still feels kind of decadent, but it's on a portobello mushroom. And portobello mushrooms are so great because they feel hearty. You can fill them with all kinds of things. So I have a couple of portobello mushrooms, and what I do is a tip with stuffing portobello mushrooms. All the gills, I scrape all of that out with a spoon. Because all of the gills in a mushroom, they produce water. So I just scrape all along and get rid of the gills. I put some olive oil, stick it in the oven about 400 degrees. It didn't take very long. You don't want it completely soft. It wants to have a little bit there so they don't completely fall apart when you stuff them. And I don't salt them because salt also draws out water from a mushroom, so I'll salt them afterwards. So mushrooms are done. What do you stuff them with? Philly cheesesteak toppings. So steak, provolone cheese, onions, peppers. It's like you're eating a Philly cheesesteak. So I got my steak right here, and I patted it with a paper towel because the way you get a good crust on a steak is it's dry. So you don't want it to be wet at all. Good amount of salt. I've got a hot pan behind me. I've got my cast iron pan on medium-high heat, getting really nice and hot for me. Pepper, both sides. Okay, a little more salt. And then let's put it in. We want a good sear. Nice. While our steak is going, I cut up 2 onions, slices, cut it in half and then made slices out of it. Now green pepper, your typical Philly cheesesteak ingredients. And any of you from Philly, I've always heard it's Pat or Gino's, and everybody's got their favorite Philly cheesesteak. I think I had a Pat's once. Get our seeds out, and same thing, we're gonna cut our green pepper about the same size as our onion. Done with the peppers, let's check our steak. See how we're going. Yes. I usually like my steak medium well. I know that's not popular with many people, so cook the steak to your liking, and it's gonna go back in the oven for a minute in the portobellos to melt everything, so you may wanna undercook the steak even more than you normally would. And then once our steak's done, we're gonna put our veggies in the same pan and go from there. So our peppers and onions are cooked. I put in a clove of garlic. I added a little bit of water because sometimes your peppers and onions can burn before they get nice and soft. So I added maybe a 1/4 cup of water, and they are nice and soft and tender. So to that, Worcestershire sauce. Then Philadelphia cream cheese for our Philly cheesesteak portobellos. Stir that in, and you just want to melt that into the mixture. The pan is hot. And let your cream cheese sit out at room temp for a little bit so it gets nice and soft. Oh my goodness, it smells so good in here. Something about peppers and onions and garlic. I used about a 1/4 to I think a half of the block. A good Philly cheesesteak has provolone cheese, so I've got some sliced provolone. I'm gonna cut it up so it melts faster. And remember, this is gonna go back in the oven, so if things don't melt completely right now, they will. And if you don't eat meat, which I do a lot of vegetarian nights where I don't eat meat, I would just add this to the portobello and be happy. But we're gonna add our steak. Before we do, a little bit of sour cream, my favorite ingredient. My mouth is watering. Let's cut up our steak. Now this is on the rare side, but it's gonna cook more in the oven, and you want it to be nice and tender. So cut against the grain. The grain's going this way. Try to get as thin as you can with your slices, just like a Philly cheesesteak, right? And then we're gonna add this to our mixture. to the mixture, in goes our steak, and then everything gets mixed together. Now, let's stuff our portobellos. You can't even see there's a mushroom under there, but that's maybe a good thing. I'm not even gonna put, I was going to put more cheese on top. I think we've got plenty of cheese in there. The only other thing I'm gonna do, just to give it a little bit of crunch, some panko. We may not be having a bun on our Philly cheesesteak, but a little bit of toasted breadcrumb. Yes! And then just to get those breadcrumbs browned a little, just the slightest little drizzle of olive oil. Okay, in the oven, I've got it on 375, just until it melts and browns. I was gonna chop up some chives to put on it, but why waste time? I have to try this. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is decadent, but it's not a portobello mushroom. It's so yummy. I hope you try it. It's good. Yum. It's like I had a Philly cheesesteak, but without the bun, and I didn't miss it. It was really good. Coming up, Steve Kuzj is taking us to a breakfast spot, serving up waffles Benedict, a chocolate dip waffle with strawberries, and more. Then, speaking of breakfast, will Levi like my coconut crusted blackberry French toast? We'll find out. But first, I'm getting in the kitchen with the author of the cookbook, One Dish, 4 Seasons, and we're making a winter chicken recipe with blood oranges and olives. That's coming up next. I make chicken at least once a week for dinner, and I don't know about you, but you get stuck in a rut and you want something different. So I got in the kitchen with Jordan Zucker, and she makes the most comforting, delicious winter chicken dish. Take a look. Jordan Zucker, hi.
Hi, Jessica.
We go way back because we have mutual friends.
We do. We're so lucky enough to have the same mutual friends.
I know, which is really nice. And they told me, they go, you know what, Jordan has a new book. And it is fabulous. It's called One Dish, 4 Seasons.
Yes.
And what our friends were saying about your book is they said it's so clever, the concept behind the book.
Well, I tried.
Yeah, so you decided to break food into seasons.
That was actually my mother's idea, but yes.
Go, Mom.
Uh-huh.
And then you paired it with music.
That was me.
That's brilliant.
And wine and music.
So how did the idea of pairing food and music?
So I think the approach my mom and I both took was looking at what was available on the shelves and seeing what holes we thought needed being filled.
Yeah.
And she just thought that seasonal recipes were broken down with this is what you make in winter, spring, summer, and fall. Mm-hmm. She wanted to work backwards. She wanted to start with the dish and then tell me how to make that in the winter, tell me how to make that in the spring.
Yeah.
And so that was her take on the One Dish, 4 Seasons. And then my complaint, if you want to say that I'm such a complainer, about the books on the shelves were that it was just a collection of recipes. Mm-hmm. And I thought that cooking and dining and entertaining was so much more than the food you put on the plate.
Yeah.
So I decided to complete the recipe trifecta by pairing the wine and the music and exploring the seasonality of all 3 elements of entertaining.
By the way, just talking about this book, the photographs, and here's the page right
The
here.
winter.
But the photographs that you took,
This is right out in the backyard.
I mean, and you're
Fun, right?
real people, real families.
Those are my folks.
This is not a staged cookbook. These are your mom and dad.
Yeah.
It's really a lovely.
Thanks.
Do you feel so proud when you look at
I'm
it?
pretty proud of it. I'm happy with the book.
Okay, I'm excited because we are in winter.
We're in winter.
So we're gonna make some winter dishes. And a lot of times winter is warm, cozy, stewy type things.
That's what we're trying to do in winter,
Right.
to warm you up.
Yeah, so I love the idea of a chicken dish because everybody always, what do they say? What do we do with chicken? I'm bored with chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're great. We're gonna do a winter chicken.
Yeah, and what are we gonna do with our chicken?
So our winter chicken sits on a bed of fennel, blood orange, and olives.
Yeah.
I like Castelvetrano olives.
Okay.
And then it's just properly seasoned and roasted. It's really simple. The first thing that you're gonna wanna do when you make a chicken is pour the wine.
But of course.
Of course. Winter
And it
chicken.
is more fun to cook with a little bit of wine, especially when you've got friends in the
It
kitchen.
really makes everything taste better.
Yeah. True story.
Secret ingredient.
Okay, so we've got a lot of chicken. Who are we
We have a lot of chicken. This is one whole chicken quartered. So it's if you don't want to go for the whole chicken and quarter it, you can just get 2 legs and 2 breasts.
Okay.
But we're gonna put this on last. First, we're gonna do the base. And the base is
All right.
what varies from season to season.
Okay.
So in the winter, we are starting with 2 fennel bulbs chopped up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love fennel.
We're gonna throw that in a bowl. And then we have a
Onion?
lot of onions, but we're only gonna do half of this.
Okay.
So it's 2 onions chopped up. And cooked onions, I think, are the way to go.
Yeah, they're magic when
Yeah.
they get nice and caramelized.
Totally. Then we are gonna do the olives.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Our pretty blood oranges.
aren't they gorgeous?
Really pretty.
We're gonna throw those guys in. Okay, so now what we do is a ubiquitous step in my cooking, and
Okay.
I kind of want to introduce it to everybody
Yeah.
to use in their vernacular for the kitchen. And it's an acronym that I came up with, or that with my mother, called SWOOPS, and it stands for season with olive oil, pepper, and salt.
Brilliant.
You really just have to swoops everything in life.
Yes.
So we're gonna swoops this. Be liberal with your olive oil,
Yeah.
and always make sure that you have good tasting olive oil. Then salt, always from a dish.
Yeah.
Much
More
easier to
salt.
manage with your fingers. And then fresh ground pepper. Let's toss our swooped veggies,
Okay.
pour it in the pan, and then get the chicken ready. Ginger,
Cook with
garlic,
ginger that often.
salt.
And people think they might over salt. I mean, it really
They
would
won't.
take a lot.
Yeah, you're
for
not
you
gonna.
to oversalt.
Don't worry about that. Not worried about you oversalting your chicken, guys.
No.
Then I just kind of like rub it all together.
Yeah.
Way. All right.
Uncovered, would you cook?
I would
the chicken?
uncovered. All right, I think we're ready for the oven.
It's a 2-woman job. Should I open the?
Please do.
Yeah.
400, preheated.
Okay.
See you in 25. So there it is, all cooked. You can see the juices with the fennel and the orange and the olives and the onions. And then I want to throw some fronds on it, some of these fennel fronds.
So pretty.
And then you can also throw some parsley on top. Well, let's try some, shall
Let's
we?
try some.
Okay.
Yes.
This one I have paired with my favorite jazz album. It's a Jimmy Smith album called Back of the Chicken Shack, and I thought it was super appropriate because, first of all, jazz in winter are like, I'm definitely jazz heavier in the winter than I am. Oh, I love it.
'Cause it's
all time of
moody,
year. It's
right?
moody. And Back of the Chicken Shack for your chicken just works so well on multiple levels. Ready? Cheers. Yum.
That is delicious.
Yay!
Really good. The idea of a Dutch baby, for those who don't know, I think Dutch baby is one of those things that, like a pancake, you can put anything in it and it becomes delicious.
It's a great canvas.
Yeah, so this is so beautiful because it's winterized by the ingredients with blue cheese and onion.
Dutch baby traditionally is more of a sweet breakfast.
Yeah.
But my mom and I love the savory version of everything. So we decided to customize them into more like a frittata or a quiche without a crust.
Yeah.
So you have the same Dutch baby batter without the sugar, and then you use omelet or frittata ingredients. The winter version of the Dutch baby
Yeah.
is caramelized onions and blue cheese. The key to caramelizing onions is slow steady, slow burn. You just let them sit on low heat in butter and oil, and you mix them up, and they turn this lovely golden brown.
And they're sugary and caramelized and lovely.
Yeah, and I know not everybody's a fan. Blue cheese is controversial. If you're not a fan of blue cheese, use something else. Like maybe do a Gruyere and have it be like a la a French onion soup or something like that.
Okay, so
Check
we'll
your
let
guess.
that kind of melt, and then we'll make the egg mixture will then go on top.
Yes, so now we're gonna take the heat off because they're all caramelized, and we're gonna make the egg mixture and pour it in.
Perfect.
Great. While we're getting those ready, we're just gonna do the batter.
Okay.
We're gonna do, and it's easy, 1, 1, 1. 1 cup of milk, and I use whole milk. 1 cup of flour. Then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of salt, about a half a tea of pepper. You wanna grind some in there?
Okay, good.
Great.
Okay, some grated nutmeg.
Fresh grated nutmeg on a microplane.
Uh-huh. Now eggs, 4 eggs.
4.
Okay, so I'll help you get
Let's
cracking.
let's get those cracking.
2.
3, 4.
In we go, and then
Into
whip
a
it up.
blender, blend it all up.
Mm-hmm.
Take a sip of wine first.
For good measure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now they're really good. Like 30 seconds. I usually do a little blend dance while I'm blending.
Yep.
There's your
That's
batter.
it. Done.
So we're gonna throw a little bit of parsley on.
And you're doing it in the oven because you don't want to spill.
It's the best way, because
Right.
if not, it gets everywhere.
Yeah.
So you pour it on right in the oven, get everything out. In you go at 475 for 15, 20 minutes. It's gonna puff up and you're gonna be done.
Yum.
Here we go. And I just cut it up like a pizza.
And here's what's
Everybody gets
crazy
a little wedge.
is you're right. It's so puffy, and within seconds, you have to eat it right away.
And we still have wine, right?
Yeah. Oh, hello. There you go.
How'd this come out? Is it ridiculous? I can't wait.
It's ridiculous. That is really, really yummy.
I might finish the Dutch babe before I finish my wine.
Exactly. That's when you know it's good. Those dishes were so good, and I love Jordan's concept of just changing a few ingredients with the seasons. Coming up, Steve Kuzj is taking us to a breakfast spot serving up the most amazing sweet and savory waffles. But if you're more of a French toast person, will Levi like my coconut-crusted blackberry French toast? We'll find out next. I'm a big fan of Eggs Benedict and waffles, but I've never heard of an Eggs Benedict waffle. Steve Kuzj takes us to a place that's doing just that.
You can get breakfast just about anywhere these days. In fact, some places sell that stuff 24 hours a day. But when it comes to your breakfast, you gotta ask yourself, do you want something that just fills the empty void inside your stomach? Or do you want something that fills your soul? Well, if you're like me, you're hungry for more than just waffles. You're hungry for more than waffles. You get it? Of course you do. Come on. Obviously, the community loves More Than Waffles. What do you guys love about this place?
This place is like home to us. I started here in '89 as a server. I worked with the previous owners for quite a few years, then became a manager. And in '98, they asked me to buy it from them. So to take over and continue the tradition, which I thought is a huge honor. 44 years that this restaurant has been here.
Obviously, there's a lot of places people can have breakfast, but
Right.
I've never seen a place so crowded. Why is that?
Well, I believe that it's because they know that they will get great food, great friendly service, and a very homey feeling. We did some changes, we changed the wallpaper, but the feel of the place, to keep it as original as it was when they opened in 1975.
So you've been married now for
21.
21 years.
And we've been working for 21 years. We've been working here together.
You came here as a kid, Greg. You met your wife here. What kept bringing you back?
Well, I really like the corned beef hash, the waffle for sure that came with it.
What's unique about our waffles is they're actually made from an ancient secret recipe from Belgium that somehow the previous owner were able to get it. It's made with all natural ingredients. There are no artificial flavors or colors, and they're non-dairy. Waffle iron, waffle machine that are custom made to us. They're crispy on the outside and light and moist on the inside.
All the way from Belgium, and now here it is
Yes.
in Encino, California.
Originally, when it's opened, the menu was like this. It was just waffles and crepes. Now it's huge. We have a full menu with salads and pastas and crepes, savory and sweet.
Where did you get the idea to put Eggs Benedict on top of a waffle?
This was one of the original recipes on the menu.
Oh, and you see how the egg just breaks apart open, the gooey yolk coming out there, just coating everything else so nicely. The waffle almost has that English muffin-like consistency to it, but it's bigger, thicker. It's a more like filling bite, you know? I've never seen this anywhere else other than just right here. A lot of people think dessert's just for the end of the meal, but this doesn't have to be for the end, right?
Not at all. People order it as an appetizer, and then they move on to the real meal. This is called the love waffle because we created it a few years ago for Valentine's Day. It was so popular that we decided to keep it on and became one of our signature waffles. It's a Belgian waffle dipped in dark Belgian chocolate that get hard. And then on top of that, there's vanilla ice cream, fresh strawberries, and whipped cream.
Wow. With the Belgian chocolate on top like that, that's like eye-opening. Like really, I'm shocked by how delicious that is. The waffle's so moist and tender, and just having the chocolate, like coating it on top, adds a whole other layer of excitement I didn't even know existed. Ika, Greg, thank you two so very much for inviting us into your home. This is going to be one of our favorite new restaurants to go to, for sure. So,
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Steve, that is one hearty breakfast. That looked really good. Now, from waffles to French toast, I'm making a coconut crusted French toast with a blackberry sauce, but will Levi like it?
I want to eat it yet.
But it's coconut French toast. You can give it a little extra powdered sugar. Okay, that's a good amount. There you go. Do you want to try it? Should we cut a little bite?
I don't want this part. I want
Which part?
the inside.
Okay, well, will you just take one bite of the inside here? Oh, the one underneath?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it, but I'm not gonna eat it.
Just one bite is all I got, but he liked it. If you want to get the recipe, go to our Instagram at KTLA California Cooking. That does it for us, and we'll see you next week.
You want hula in here?
Hula can hang in.
Hula, you want to hang? You camera ready?
Mm-hmm.
You fix your bow.
You look very
You have your
cute.
jingle bells on?
Hula. Hula, hula. Hi, hula. And what are we going to stuff them with? Philly cheesesteak. Why can't I talk? Okay, what do you stuff them with? Philly cheesesteak. Steak. Ow, that really hurt. Okay.